So one thing about the Packers is nobody expected after Aaron Rodgers left for the Packers to rebound in their quote unquote rebuilding phase so quickly and have such an impact. They've been the youngest team in the league over the last couple of years, and yet they've been a threat to go to the Super Bowl both years. And when you start hearing about guys that are on this roster or the Packers that were just joined the roster that have crazy athleticism and they're already having an impact prior to training camp, all this stuff, man, it excites me. And the Packers get a double dose of good news that we're going to cover. And it's going to be about two players that we're going to highlight that are on the Packer roster that are looking super good so far. Okay. So again, I know we're early on in the phase, but you look at a guy like Isaiah Simmons, 8th overall selection in 2020 draft. This dude's been looking good already. Okay. What do I mean by that? Well, linebackers coach came out and said, hey, listen, he looks hungry. He looks eager when talking about Simmons. Um, it says right here that I see a really hungry player. He's very eager player right now. He's extremely athletic. I think his versatility is going to be something that's pretty special in this league. It's pretty special on this team. I don't think you see a lot of guys that are 6'4", 240 pounds, that can run a 4.3. But I see a guy who, just like everybody's putting his head down, getting to work, putting in the work. He's working on trying to learn the defense. And here's the thing. I think the Packers have something special in when it comes to Isaiah Simmons. Like this dude, 8th overall selection. He's crazy talented and athletic. He's been in the league. He's played for 3 teams in 4 years, which isn't great, but that's because they keep moving him around. He's played linebacker, he's played defensive end, he's played in the slot. He's even played corner at times. So this dude has just been being utilized in so many different areas that he's unfortunately become a master. He's a jack of all trades, master of none. We've talked about that before. And the Packers are seeing something special out of this dude. Okay. So we know that Jeff Hafley's defensive schemes requires some guys that are 6'4", 240 pounds, can run a 4.3. And when you've got a guy like Isaiah Simmons now on your squad, and you take a look at the Packers depth chart. So when you look at the Packers depth chart at the linebacker position, that's an area of need. Okay. So you've got Isaiah McDuffie, who, could stand to, we could improve on that position. You've got Tyron Hopper, who was so far has been a little bit of a disappointment. I think still he's incredibly talented and gifted. So remains to be seen what that guy can do for us. But then you've got Edrin Cooper, who is a freak of all freaks, right? You've got Quay Walker, who's incredibly gifted and athletic. Reminds me a lot of Isaiah Simmons, somebody that is just athletic, can be utilized in so many different facets of the game. Jeff Hafley, going to be interesting to see how he incorporates both Quay Walker and Isaiah Simmons and with their athleticism that's off the charts. So I'm super excited to see. And then you've got guys like Brenton Cox Jr., who, Brian Gutekunst goes out and signs, later on. Speaking of which, the Packers, another player that is really stepping up when we start talking about guys that are just taking a leap forward. Kalen King is one of those guys on this Packer defense right now that you start hearing about, like, okay, this dude's looking really good. What do I mean by that? Well, again, so far early on, if you remember last year, he had a pick 6 on Jordan Love in training camp, all of that stuff, but he's looking super good, super athletic right now. And I know we're early on. And there was a Packer analyst out there that's been watching the Packers practice pretty intensely. And he's like, I don't want to speak too soon, knock on wood, but he's really, really looking good out there. He's playing inside and out, kind of like the light has gone on for him. And he looks more springy in his step. Okay. So when the future's uncertain with Jair Alexander, and then you've got a guy like Kalen King, who, he was picked overall 255th in the draft. So Brian Gutekunst, he slips into the draft. Okay. So super disappointing last collegiate career, or season. But prior to that, we were looking at this guy as like he's going to be, a first round pick, and now he slips to the Packers late. Gutekunst takes a chance with Kalen King. Kalen King, I was waiting for the Packers to implement him last season, and I just didn't see it. And now you're reading about this dude's looking really, really good out there, and he's playing great inside and out, and there's a spring to his step, all that stuff. So great news for the Packers. Isaiah Simmons is looking like the athlete everybody knows that this dude is. Okay, 8th overall selection. Is he going to be that good? My expectations aren't that high yet, but given the right coaching schemes, given the right system in Green Bay, you're looking at a guy that is going to be an absolute animal. Okay, so I want to share something with you also that fires me up. So we already talked about the Lions and the Packers. They face off at Lambeau Field, week 1. But then you've got their wide receiver that they drafted in the 3rd round, Isaac Tesla, okay, out of Arkansas. And here's what this dude had to say about the Green Bay Packers. Fires me up, man. I get so pumped up about this.
Lions, Bears, Vikings, Packers.
There you go. Okay.
Packers week 1.
Yeah, type shit.
So you hate the Packers, probably?
I hate the Packers.
Is that the worst?
Burning passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a Packers guy.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah. I mean, they're my first girlfriend.
You're a Packers guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you mean, like?
So you've got a guy, a rookie coming into Detroit, and he's already starting to start the momentum of some trash talk, which I think is great. I think it's super healthy. You've got a rival here with the Packers and the Lions that is starting to form. We've dominated the Lions for so many years, and then you get a guy like Tesla who's coming into Detroit, and whether or not he gets significant amount of playing time, he's a big guy to play in the slot, so he's going to be a matchup nightmare potentially for a lot of slot defenders out there. But you look at a guy like that who's coming into Detroit being like, man, I hate the Packers. I hate them with a passion. So bring it on. I'm loving it. You've got the Lions, you've got the Bears, and then you've got the Vikings that we all are just hating. And you got it's making it super easy when stuff like this happens, which I think is hilarious. I think it makes it easy for us to start rooting against them already. Can't wait for week 1. I want you guys to leave your comments, though. Let me know about Isaiah Simmons. I think this dude's going to have a really good this is going to be a bounce back year for him. This is going to be a rejuvenation of his career, I feel, in Green Bay. And then Kalen King, the guy clearly has talent. Okay, so it's super encouraging to see that this dude is looking so good so far. I'm excited to see what training camp has to say, but as always, go Pack Go.